Good evening. It's Jazz for the People. I'm out with another review. I'm kind of working my way through albums that I've had, and I figured I'd kind of go through those first, and then I could start using this as an excuse to buy new albums. So tonight, the album I'm reviewing is one of my old favorites. Been listening to it for a long time, since I was kind of a kid, pretty much, probably since I was a teenager. And yeah, it's a really, really awesome album. It's Les McCann and Eddie Harris live at the Montreux Jazz Festival in Montreux, Switzerland in 1969. On this album, we've got Les McCann on the pianos and vocals for one song, and Eddie Harris on the saxophone, along with Benny Bailey, featuring Benny Bailey on the trumpet, Leroy Vinegar on the bass, and Donald Dean on the drums. The story behind this album is pretty interesting, because both Les McCann and Eddie Harris both showed up to this, week-long jazz festival independently with their own respective bands, and decided at the end of the week to team up together with Benny Bailey to do kind of an impromptu performance. I don't know a ton of history about exactly how much practice they had or how much planning they really had, but you're kind of left to assume there wasn't much. And there's even one song, I think it's Cold Duck Time. In the beginning of it, Les McCann mentions that this is the first time they've ever even done the song. So the album is electric in that way. It's very raw and sort of passionate. You can tell these guys are just belting it out for the love of the game, I guess. But it's got a ton of awesome music on here, and I'd recommend it to anybody. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the background of the album. Les McCann provides a lot of really interesting leadership with his piano playing in this album as well. I noticed almost sort of like he's conducting an orchestra at times. You can kind of, after you listen to the album enough, you can kind of get a sense of his cues through the piano, which is really, really kind of fascinating and kind of cool to hear. And he just, I think he's really the backbone of the album. They're all great, but I really, really like Les McCann's kind of consistent, consistency in the way he just sort of really follows through with this entire album. He's a guiding light for sure, and it's pretty fun to hear. So the album opens up with the most famous song on the album, called "Compared to What," which was a protest song, where he's just sort of singing about some of the issues and concerns with the state of the world at the time. He's comparing bank fraud to abortion. He's critical of the Vietnam War and of war in general and that kind of thing. It's the only song with vocals, and it's he sings loud, he sings strong, and he's got a lot to say, and it's pretty cool, especially kind of coming from that era, especially all being black musicians from that era as well, adds a level of intensity to it. Kind of starts out a real driving piano, accompanied by a cowbell, I'm assuming by Donald Dean, and it kind of settles into a really rich rhythm, a very soulful rhythm. Donald Dean has some really awesome moments on the drums on this one, and when Les McCann comes in, Eddie Harris comes in on the saxophone, he really brings it in. So there's some really cool moments with him on the sax, and Benny Bailey's trumpet on this song is very whiny and slacky sounding, very loose and just kind of raw. And the audience and throughout the whole album are all very animated. You can hear the audience. I mean, just like constantly in each song, applauding throughout, glasses clinking, and all that kind of stuff that is so sort of special with live jazz albums, especially. After that, you got Cold Duck Time, which is another just real soulful, rich song. Kind of starts off with Leroy Vinegar on the bass. It really starts out with a really cool bass line in that song, and kind of displays their abilities in each of their abilities to solo between Les McCann, Eddie Harris, and Benny Bailey. They all kind of take turns soloing throughout the song, and it's all, like I said earlier, very guided by Les McCann's precise piano playing. And really soulful, awesome song. After that, Kathleen's theme, which is probably one of the two standout tracks on this album, is I don't think Benny Bailey plays on the song at all. I think it's pretty much Eddie Harris on the sax the whole song, and I feel like it's sort of a piece of poetry that he's composed, and it is gorgeous. It's a wonderful song. I think it's one of my all-time favorite jazz songs of all the jazz that I've heard in my life, which, compared to a lot of people isn't much, but this one has always really stood out as being just very special. And Les McCann, throughout Eddie Harris's piano, or throughout his saxophone playing, Les McCann adds these really incredible high notes with his piano that are almost like little droplets, little droplet interludes in between, just amazing saxophone playing delivered by Harris. On the B side of the album, they kick it off with You Get It in Your Soulness, which is one of the two probably most prominent drumming tracks on here. Donald Dean really kind of digs into the drums here in a few different moments of this song, and I'd say Benny Bailey's got the best. This song probably displays his best trumpet solo out of the whole album. At one point in the middle of the song, he's just laying into that trumpet, and he pretty much whips the crowd into an actual frenzy. You can hear it, and they go ecstatic for it. So that's definitely worth listening to. After that, you've got Generation Gap, which is probably the most kind of the calmest and most pensive song on the album. Other than some of Donald Dean's moments on the drums where he kind of gets, I mean, I wouldn't say carried away, but it just isn't like the rest of the album, where Donald Dean and Les McCann kind of separate in some ways in sort of an interesting way. I think it's maybe a bit more of like a free-form experimental type song that they decided to do at the end of the show for the evening to kind of wrap it up. Still a really cool song. Like I said, I've been listening to this album a long time, so it's really a cool one to listen to, and really beautiful piece of music. So I'd suggest checking it out. It's definitely on Spotify. It's a really famous album, so check it out on Spotify, or go down to your local record store and get it on vinyl. That's how I would do it. All right. Hope you all enjoy this one.